What's going on, bull runners? Welcome back to the channel. So Ripple's XRP and Stellar's XLM, the winners have already been chosen by the IMF, and we have some big crypto news to bring to you in this video that changes everything. So right now we're enjoying a picnic out here in beautiful Miami, Florida. The cruise ships take off from all the way down there, come all the way up here, and then they sail through the Bermuda Triangle and hope that they make it out alive. And so as a lot of these altcoins, in this space and new companies that are launching, there's over 1.8 million cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap. And when I saw that recently, pretty crazy, because a few months back there was like 30,000 or 40,000. So now there's 1.8 million, if that's correct. And just recently, the Hong Kong Virtual Asset Consortium has included XRP in its virtual asset index, giving XRP a 6.94% share in the cryptocurrency global large top 5 index and equal weight index. So this places XRP, and the reason why this is a big deal is because this places XRP among other digital currencies, with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether's USDT having larger shares. And so XRP is definitely here to stay. And according to W the Jazz on Twitter, banks are suppressing XRP's price, and here's why. 94% of all XRP have not moved in the last few months, and 80% haven't moved in the past 6 months. The for sale supply is extremely scarce right now, and banks fear that if XRP's price surges, a significant portion of money will flow out of traditional banking and into XRP. So this potential shift could disrupt the entire banking system. And with asset managers holding trillions of dollars, even a small allocation to XRP could cause its price to skyrocket, attracting mainstream investors and retail investors to the digital asset when they want institutional investors to hold it. So do you guys agree with this, or do you disagree with him? So here's something else that's very interesting that you need to see.
In March of 2023, there was a report by the IMF titled Trust Bridges and Money Flows, a digital marketplace to improve cross-border payments. And interestingly, on page 23, they mention 2 digital assets, and that's XRP and XLM.
The Bank for International Settlements publishes their money flower. And there is a small space in that money flower for those private cryptocurrencies. So I agree with you that the winners of this have already been chosen.
I believe so.
Right? And I think that you just named the 2 that are most likely that. And I think also Wall Street's totally adopted Bitcoin.
As always, covering ongoing fundamentals and developments happening behind the scenes during the crypto winter that the mainstream is never going to show you. Do you all remember this IMF PDF that I showed you all from September 2023 with the freaking all-seeing eye on it, right? Well, if we scroll right down here to page 24 and we pay attention to what they say, it says, to promote digitalization, governments need to create a strong enabling environment. This means enhancing digital infrastructure, upgrading digital literacy, and developing skills in the workforce. So it's talking about educating the general populace. Now, I don't think I need to show you all how interconnected Ripple is with the IMF. But if we pay attention to even further details, we head over to the IMF website. We know that they just had their annual meeting on October 13th. The dates are extremely important because this is all interconnected and correlated. Well, they came out with this regional economic outlook report, right? And if we go over to the report on page 25, it goes on to say, adapting to new technologies is also a balancing act of building a workforce capable of adjusting to the rapidly changing world. While protecting those who may be negatively affected by these technologies, this requires investing in human capital through comprehensive education strategies aimed at strengthening the quality of education, right? So this took place on the 13th of October. At the same time, what did we have presented by Ripple, right? On the same exact dates, October 12th of the 13th, 2023, Ripple Impact, University Blockchain Research Initiative, or the UBRI. This got no mainstream attention. Ripple just presented in front of all of these universities. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, look at this. Again, shout out to the CyberX researchers, always staying on top. Look at all these freaking universities, okay? All of these universities just connected with Ripple. Look down at the bottom of the screen, UBRI Connect, Ripple, right? We know how interconnected they are with the IMF. So on the same day, October 13th, Friday the 13th, they're telling the world that we need to further educate everybody on what new technologies, right, are coming into fruition. Ripple, behind the scenes, is connecting with all the major universities. You all see what's happening, right? Share this video and wake people up. This is not a conspiracy theory. We are in the process of a massive digital transformation, and Ripple is leading the way. I'm going to show you all some numbers from a document that are absolutely going to blow your mind. And in my personal opinion, this is exactly why they do not want you involved, because they know how much money is about to flood into this space. This is a video breakdown real fast before I show you all the documents from a gentleman, a representative, I believe he's from JP Morgan. And he spoke at Digital Assets Week in California. This took place in 2023. Listen to what he says via his projection of how much of the total global market is going to flood into this technology.
I think a reasonable proportion of regulated markets will be on this technology, using it in a sophisticated way within a decade. And what a reasonable proportion could be, anywhere from the 10% mentioned previously to anywhere sort of sub 50. I don't think more for that is a rational number.
10 to 50%. Okay, so remember, 10 to 50% of global regulated markets migrating over to this new technology. Okay, so remember, 10 to 50%. That's going to play an important role. Let me show you all. This is a PDF that came out. Shout out to the Cyprex researchers, but look what it says: tokenization of real world assets, unlocking a new era of ownership. And right down here it says, tokenization will revolutionize the way we fund and trade and manage assets. It is expected to disrupt nearly every industry and sector of our modern society. It says, we conservatively, this is where it becomes important. Remember, he said 10 to 50%, okay? He said, we conservatively estimate that the total market value of tokenized assets will significantly exceed 10 trillion by 2030. Let me show you all why they're saying they conservatively estimate that it's going to be 10 trillion freaking dollars. And remember what the gentleman said about 10 to 50% of global regulated markets migrating over to this new technology, right? Check these freaking numbers out. It says right here, it is expected that tokenization of real estate investments and digital bonds will be the dominant use case going forward. Right here, it says real estate, digital bonds, investment funds, public equity. Remember, they estimate a low ball of $10 trillion. That's their conservative estimate. Look at this, $337 trillion for real estate. Digital bonds is $314 trillion. Investment funds is $155 trillion. Public equity is $123 trillion. So let's just do this gentleman's conservative estimate. He said 10%, okay? 10% of all of these global freaking assets. You see, 10% of $337 trillion, let's just round that off to 30 trillion. 10% of digital bonds is another 30 trillion. So that's now 60 trillion right there. Investment funds, 10% of that is 15 trillion. Okay? So now we're at what, 75 trillion? Public equity, 10% of that. Okay, that's 12 trillion. So now we're above 80 trillion freaking dollars. Do you all see? And that's 10%. What if what this gentleman said, 50% happens? 50% of this number, 50% of this number, 50%. Do you all freaking see why they don't want you involved? Or am I just, okay? Tap in, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get shaken out. It's coming. Once regulations are in place, it's coming.
And also back in July, David Schwartz, he said this about the XRP ledger for what's expected the next year to year and a half that we all need to be ready for. Check this out.
I'm hoping that we're going to see, as real-world asset tokenization projects grow, I think the XRP ledger is going to be a really good platform for them to launch on, particularly because of the low fees and because of the integration with the DEX, with the proximity to sort of the movement of funds. The ability, if someone's going to buy, what do you want to do with a real-world tokenized asset? You want to buy it, you want to sell it, you want to hold it, you want to transfer it. And if you want to buy it and sell it, you want to be able to do that with whatever asset is convenient for you. You don't want to tie, if you tokenize some sort of debt, like you don't want to tie it to US dollars, because then that limits access to it to people who have sort of proximity to US dollars. One of the things the XRP ledger is good for is giving you sort of proximity to many different assets, and that exchange is seamlessly built in. So I think that's going to make, that's one of the many reasons why the XRP ledger is going to be a good place to launch tokenized real-world assets. I think we'll see that in the next year, year and a half.
So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Now, some big news just hit Bitcoin as we sip our orange Bitcoin margaritas here. Do you hold any Bitcoin, or are you more bullish on XRP? I hold more XRP than Bitcoin, but I still do hold some Bitcoin because the SEC will not appeal a recent court ruling that found it was wrong to reject an application from crypto asset manager Grayscale to create a spot Bitcoin ETF. So back in August, a court ruled that the SEC was wrong to reject Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin ETF, finding that the SEC's argument that the Bitcoin market can be manipulated is flawed. And it's flawed because the agency previously approved Bitcoin futures-based ETFs with fraud prevention measures. So the SEC's decision not to appeal is a significant milestone for the crypto industry, because considering the pressure that the SEC has encountered, from the courts, from the U.S. House and Financial Services Committee, for Gary Gensler specifically getting grilled from Congress.
The biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes.
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least twice. And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought...
You were, sir, reclaiming my time. You were. Does it concern you that your approach to the digital asset industry is actually driving this industry out of the United States?
trying to drive it to compliance, and if they're not complying with the laws.
You say the crypto market is rife with non-compliance. However, existing SEC rules make no sense for blockchain-based companies, and following them would actually kill these businesses. Your regulatory style lacks flexibility and nuance, and as a result, you've been an incompetent cop on the beat, doing nothing.
It's not a matter of if, but when this approval will receive the green light and lead to blanket approvals for all spot Bitcoin ETFs. So since they did not appeal, this may mean that Grayscale will begin negotiating the conversion of their Bitcoin trust into an ETF sooner than everyone expects. But we will see. And if you watched my last video, I talked about how Webull is getting ready, the competitor to Robinhood, by adding a crypto ETF tab to their platform. And so expect this to be a run for market share when all these exchanges start talking about Bitcoin ETFs, spot Bitcoin ETFs, and then that leads to a flow of liquidity into the overall market. So it's clear that the SEC, they've been losing steam lately. They've been on their heels, and eventually the market will rally again, regardless of what the Federal Reserve is doing with interest rates, because gross debt continues to rise. And on Friday, Coinbase, the centralized exchange, used legal channels to force the SEC to respond to their rulemaking petition that they made back in 2022. So if you guys remember, we haven't talked about this in a while because there hasn't been many updates on this, but Coinbase filed what's called a mandamus requesting an SEC response to the petition within 30 days. So in less than a month, there's going to be a major announcement. So make sure you subscribe so you guys can be notified right away, because the rulemaking petition calls on the SEC to share its views on digital assets and which products it believes are securities and not. And as you know, the SEC, they believe everything other than Bitcoin is a security. So this is a big deal to understand, because regulation is one of the main roadblocks that's holding back this industry from adoption, and regulation is coming. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but you're early right now, and the smart investors are always positioning themselves early before, we get up in the cruising altitude. So we're going through the turbulence right now as we're getting off the runway. And significantly, the SEC filed charges against Coinbase in June of this year, despite not responding to a rulemaking petition back in 2022. So the SEC, what they're alleging is that Coinbase operates as an unregistered securities exchange, a broker, and a clearing agency. And additionally, the SEC charged Coinbase for the unregistered offering and selling of securities in connection with their staking as a service platform. So the mandamus filing comes as the crypto market awaits a court ruling on the Coinbase motion to dismiss. And then John Deaton, who closely followed the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, he's the founder of Crypto Law. He shared his views on the Coinbase motion to dismiss, and he believes that the only chance of the SEC settling the Ripple case rests in the hands of the court ruling on this motion to dismiss for Coinbase. And Deaton shared the reasons for the possible need for the SEC to settle, saying that, and I quote, "I doubt the Solicitor General would allow an appeal in that scenario, one that could reach the Supreme Court, allowing for the High Court to strip away not only the SEC's power, but all other federal agencies as well." And that would mean bad news for the SEC. So there's a few potential outcomes for the motion to dismiss in this case. Number one, being if the court grants Coinbase's motion to dismiss, it means that the case against Coinbase will be dismissed. So this would be a favorable outcome for Coinbase, obviously, and it would no longer face the SEC's allegations. However, it's important to note that the SEC, they could appeal the decision, potentially prolonging the legal process, which, based on what happened with the Ripple case, that's to be expected. They would most likely appeal because Gary Gensler's having his power trip over there. So number two, if the court denies Coinbase's motion to dismiss, the case will proceed and Coinbase will have to defend itself against the SEC's allegations. So this could lead to a trial, and then it would be further lengthy legal proceedings. Then number three, instead of proceeding to trial, Coinbase and the SEC could reach a settlement agreement, and a settlement would involve Coinbase agreeing to certain terms, such as like paying fines or changing its business practices, delisting, some altcoins, without admitting guilt, meaning that they're not guilty, they're just having to pay some money, like Apple did, like Microsoft did, like Tesla did, like all these major companies have done in the past that have settled with the SEC. So this outcome would resolve the case without a full trial. Now, regardless of whether the motion to dismiss is granted or denied, either party, Coinbase or the SEC, they could choose to appeal the court's decision to a higher court. So this would further extend the legal process, potentially lead to different outcomes at the appellate level. So the potential outcome for the Coinbase motion to dismiss includes dismissal, continuation of the case, settlement, or the possibility of appeals. So nonetheless, this will most likely be a very lengthy process. So it's best to stay plugged in with the information so you guys are up to date on what's going on, so you know which altcoins, are going to be safe, which ones aren't going to be safe, by liking this video, subscribing to the channel so you can receive these updates as soon as they come out. Because if you're not subscribed and you don't have the bell notification ding, then it might take a while for YouTube to push these videos out to you. And if you're seeing them, a week later, 2 weeks later, by then it's too late, because these markets move so fast that you need to get a jump on the gun and be running faster than everyone else. Now, for those of you guys that have an iPhone, and you use MetaMask, some news broke for a bit that it was gone from the Apple App Store. So people are freaking out, thinking that MetaMask was going down. But now that it's restored, in a follow-up message, a spokesperson for the company described the disappearance to an operational error on their end. So MetaMask is the largest decentralized finance wallet with over 30 million users and supports multiple blockchains like Ethereum. You have Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and tons of others. But as always, it's very, very smart. And we've talked about this in previous videos. If it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. Regardless of whether you're holding on a centralized exchange or a decentralized wallet, like if you have MetaMask or you're using Trust Wallet or using some other decentralized exchange and you're holding on there, you don't own it. If these companies, if there's some hacks, your crypto is not safe. So you should not just leave all your crypto in a MetaMask wallet. You should not leave your crypto all in Coinbase or Binance. What I personally recommend, this is what I do, is I use Ledger, because that's what I use. It keeps your crypto safe from exchange hacks or insolvencies, from companies like FTX declaring bankruptcy and then saying, oh, hey, we took everyone's money. Then people are scrambling for the exit. So what I'll do for you guys, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now that is, quick disclaimer, that is an affiliate link for Ledger. No, they are not sponsoring this video, but yes, we do earn a small commission for that. That will help fuel videos like this. And then you also do get 10% off of your purchase if you go through the link in the description below and you get the Ledger family pack. That's what I ordered, because it gives you multiple ledgers, and it's always smart to diversify your holdings, not just in like one ledger in case you lose one, and you lose your private keys for that. And you could also give one away as a gift for somebody's birthday, or like if you want to give away for Christmas or something, put some XRP on it. They do support XRP. They support tons of other cryptocurrencies. So check that out. Save 10% through the link in the description below. And as you guys start to accumulate more crypto, as you guys start to accumulate more passive income on the front end, the real key to being able to grow your portfolio is, number one, having passive income on the front end through a business model that you believe in. Whether you guys are doing e-commerce, whether you're doing affiliate marketing, whether you're doing real estate, whatever business model you choose, that passive income will allow you to accumulate more as crypto continues to be suppressed, because the price suppression that's happening right now for a lot of these projects, is allowing the institutional investors to accumulate more. And even if they shake out for a potential World War III event, if they shake out majority of retail investors through one final dip, like what happened during COVID, virtually everybody was freaking out. They thought crypto was done. And then like a phoenix spawning from the ashes, we saw Bitcoin and all the altcoins start to take off because Donald Trump signed into law the CARES Act, which pumped over $2 trillion into the system through stimulus checks that then went into the hands of everyday Americans. They had to pay their phone bill, they had to pay their rent, they had to pay their mortgage, they had to pay gas. And then the wealthy people that own those companies that they had to pay took that money, they pumped the stock market, they pumped the crypto market, and the smart retail investors, they didn't just blow their stimulus checks on a night at the bars or football games or basketball games, made a lot of money. So congratulations to those of you guys that made a lot of money during the last bull run, but that is nothing compared to what's coming leading up to 2025 and even 2030, as tens of trillions, not millions, not billions, tens of trillions of dollars flow into the cryptocurrency space. And so you're at the precipice at the best time in history for this, and this could quite possibly be the last chance that you ever have to get wealthy, not only in America, but in the globe. So, as always, you know what we're doing. We're backing up our truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them, stacking them, leaving no bags left behind, because we believe that the spending power of the dollar is going down in value. That's a fact. Based on inflation, what the Fed, the Treasury is doing, blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, you obviously understand this. I don't have to insult your intelligence. That's going up in interest. That's the truth. And together, we're all going camping. You know where? On the beaches of the moon. I will see you on the next video. I will see you on bullrunners.com. Our financial education platform is launching soon. You guys can be notified first. You can get access to our top altcoins holding list as well too when that comes out. All you have to do, subscribe on bullrunners.com. And as always, stay bullish.